There's a perfect stillness to it that's not lifeless, but calm and peaceful.
Miss Vodyanitsa, prima donna of the Korolievsky troupe. What a surprise meeting you here. Will you be sitting in on a session of the Vetcha?
Sorry, I'm not taking interviews today. Oh good, you're here. The session's about to begin. Let's get inside.
Please wait, Miss Vodyanitsa. Could you introduce me to your new friend?
Give her the cold shoulder. Even though she probably gets stopped. Questions on whether to extend Project Stutza are saved until. As the rooster pull Dinna, I can't say his name, shares various energy related stats, and the dull and lifeless room has suddenly become very animated. Wow.
In summary, the energy management commitments made for the outgoing period have been delivered upon. Furthermore, both the production and consumption of Kresnik Crystal show clear signs of stabilizing. The relevant agencies have assessed the present circumstances and determined that the status quo can be sustained until the next period. For detailed statistics, I would refer you to the industry reports that have been distributed to all persons present. It should also be noted that while the recent blizzards have led to a significant increase in people's energy expenses, this is strictly a short-term phenomenon associated with a remotely located monster. Her Majesty the Tsaritsa is giving her full attention to this matter. We should have every confidence that it will be dealt with swiftly and conclusively. A financial report on disaster relief is also present in this report, courtesy
Look at that smile.
of Pantalone.
He looks good.
They cover the same old ground every single time. The rooster never seems to mind, but everyone else is getting tired of it. There's a general lack of trust. People aren't seeing any tangible benefits that affect them directly. Of course, none of that will be reflected in any of the reports on the table.
Yeah, if it weren't for these hard copy documents, I could have at least made something up.
Why are you still here?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just out here trying to hit my interview quotas. Bring out the Kvass. Ever read it?
Oh.
Best-selling newspaper in town.
If I remember correctly, you guys don't even have a sales permit. You have to sell from stalls on the street.
Okay then.
Oh.
Best-selling street stall newspaper in town. Still counts.
Damn, she must have had a lot of run-ins with him.
Order! We will now open the floor to the representatives. If there are no further substantive issues to discuss, we will then proceed to a vote on this motion.
Motion for
Snezhnaya has a
what?
long tradition of treating members of the Fatui armed forces and their dependents favorably. But recent surveys shows that Fatui families in remote areas have access to 15% less crystal than the average civilian family in Snezhnograd. It's been said many times before, but it bears repeating now. There needs to be a clear and consistent rationale behind how crystal is allocated, or we will soon face immense public backlash.
Perhaps you wouldn't need to keep repeating yourself if you would hear me out for once. I say again, true consistency exists only in principle. In the real world, fairness is relative. You appear to treat resource allocation as a simple function of production and population. So what about when the equipment used in production breaks down? Have you factored that into your equation? And do you even know how long it's been since Snezhnaya last conducted a census?
If I knew the answers to questions like that, I'm sure I'd be a very wealthy man. And I doubt I'd be going by child. I'd like to bring the focus back to the specific issue I raised. Or do you wish to deny that favorable treatment for Fatui dependents is our long-standing policy?
It's easy to be a critic when there's no accountability. That seems to be a running theme in the anti-Project Stuja cohort. Defeat the ringleader and all other problems will magically resolve themselves. That's what they seem to think. But in case you aren't aware, not one jot in my report would change whether Project Stuja continues or not.
So you have no intention whatsoever of finding a solution to this problem?
On the contrary, I'm the only one here who ever brings solutions.
Child opened by speaking up for the
Oh
armed
my
forces.
God, what is
Raiders
this?
struck back with style and a war of words ensued.
What the hell was that?
Our reporter was live on the scene to get the audience's reaction as it all unfolded. Who do you support?
That face. Oh, I agree with
The
Child. Can
people
you
have
get out of here?
spoken. Child received raucous applause from the crowd as he pushed Regrader onto his back foot with a relentless barrage of questions.
That's a
It
bit
had to be
exaggerated.
seen to be believed.
Now you see why they don't have a sales permit.
However this reporter wants to spin things, I haven't forgotten that Tartaglia was representing the Northland Bank when we first met in Liyue. So, surely their relationship can't always have been this strained.
You two are getting off topic. Let's focus on what the data is saying.
Mr. Pantalone, may I speak on your behalf?
Oh, please do. I'm more than happy to save my breath.
Crystal distribution policy undergoes modifications with each new period. The ultimate goal being to find the most reasonable method of allocation, which I believe is what Mr. Tartaglia also seeks. But I fear many may have been misled on this topic by extremist activists. To clarify, Project Stuja is not the root cause of the problem. It is merely a framework for resource distribution. The most recent reports all point to Snezhnaya's resilience and adaptability during this period of fine-tuning, and give clear indications that a distribution framework is improving with each iteration. To make drastic adjustments without first considering the risks would likely do more harm than good. It would be a waste of the hard-won experience we've gained to date.
Renowned scholar of finance, Arapov spoke up to clarify the fiscal logic, clearly alluding to social organizations like the Rokot in his words.
Please throw her
With the
out.
notorious Lelex still active to this day, should the Rokot be held responsible? No, there is someone else to blame.
Stuff. Who is this? Get her out of
Just
here.
rephrasing what Mr. Pantalone said. The Rokot are the critics he accuses of taking no responsibility for their actions. As for Lilik, you won't have heard of him yet. He's currently the most famous member of the Rokot. Well, more like infamous. Ending Project Stuja has become an obsession for him. Unlike the more decent ones among us, he believes that votes in the Vetcha are all that matter. So whether it's threats, coercion, or bribery, he'll use whatever means necessary to get people to change their vote.
And since we're already on the subject, what do you think of Lelek's methods? Are you for or against?
Why should I tell you anything? I don't know. Hard to say. I don't know.
Whatever the story is, his actions benefit us all. We stand with Lelek.
At least someone
Good for
here
you.
wants to take this discussion seriously. I've been considering that issue myself. What you really need is more precise regional data, right? I think it would be easiest to let the Fatui handle it, since they're already in charge of Crystal shipments anyway. We may as well get them to collect some data while they're at it. Whatever you need, you can ask the Fatui to look into it for you. In terms of supervision, I think the Druzhna would be a good fit. I had hoped to discuss this with Miss Vesna, but sadly, she's not present.
I will be happy to take a note of your suggestions and present them to Commander Vesna for a decision upon her return. The Commander has always taken a keen interest in Project Stuja. However, given the Druzhna's demanding workload, I'm afraid it may prove difficult for them to
She's one of
provide
the
any
new
practical
characters next
support.
update.
Let us refrain from jumping to conclusions until a
think that's who it is.
concrete and actionable plan is in place.
My apologies, Lord Rooster.
There are numerous issues to address here, including manpower, time sensitivity, and reporting lines. Nevertheless, I support drafting a proposal. Follow the usual procedure, and it can be raised as a new motion for all parties to evaluate at the appropriate time.
In that case, I'd like to share one thought before the proposal is drafted. The issue of time sensitivity was raised just now, which I presume relates to the official reports. In fact, the Energy Commission already collects regular statistics on each urban center and its surrounding area. Would these be of any use?
That's a good idea. I read every issue of Sviet-Lolaidovka's report, and although my focus is mostly on the section about equipment operation, the energy consumption statistics also yield a lot of insights.
Be that as it may, does no one see an issue with using local data to determine crystal quotas? In the long term, it seems like a very risky solution.
Not if they are used purely for reference. So long as we have the report from the Northland Bank's headquarters to corroborate it, no one will be able to fool me.
Very well then. It appears that this arrangement is acceptable to all parties.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
The members reached a provisional consensus on the issue of improving treatment for Fatui soldiers. Today, the prima donna of the Korailievsky troupe attended a session of the Snezhnograd Vecha in the company of a most charming young lady. The question on all our minds is, what is the true nature of their relationship?
Why does that matter?
Anything like that again, and I'm revoking your permission to interview the troupe. Got it?
Oh. Questions cover everything from energy to healthcare, technology, industry, all parties, rada. She carries out her writing.
Now,
I don't really care
if there are no
what she's
further
reported.
contributions from those present, we shall proceed to the final vote.
Aye.
Hey, check it out! What made him vote against? Why now?
The votes have been tallied. Those in favor of continuing Project Stuja total 61%, securing a clear majority.
That was too close. The margin has shrunk yet again. Chuganov was a huge loss.
I'll bet Lelek is behind this. I wonder how Pulcinella will respond this time.
Pulcinella.
I see. Lelek strikes again.
Yes, go, Lelek. Once Project Stuja is defeated, our unwavering support at Bring Out the Kvass will finally pay off when we make our comeback. I can taste our victory already!
In
you're
accordance
annoying.
with the result of this vote, Project Stuja will remain in effect until the next Vecha period. Finally, may I remind us all, we debate only for the greater glory and solidarity of our nation. May the aurora shine ever on, and the tundra always stand firm. The session is concluded.
Awesome. Oh. Oh, they cleared out real quick.
I have to say, I really wasn't expecting Chukhanov to vote against Project Stuja. Well, in principle, Snezhnaya's business and political elites ought to be the ones least likely to oppose it. As we heard, Project Stuja is basically just a resource distribution framework that requires everyone to cut back during the winter. But even if the policy got cancelled, the Tsaritsa's energy needs wouldn't suddenly go down. The extra demand from the public would have to be filled from somewhere. So logically, the factories would have to take the hit. I got a letter from Mr. Mitya just before today's session. He said he's confirmed that there are issues around overtime and excessive energy consumption at the Iskra manufacturing plant. In a situation like this, once the Rooster receives the report, he'll order the factory to halt production and submit to an investigation before issuing a penalty. But that's a week-long process, and thus didn't make it onto the Vetcha agenda this time. I don't think he suspects anything so far.
So for him, the choice between reducing production or stopping entirely.
Exactly. And as you know, he's a very selfish person. I was originally gonna try and flip him after he received notice of the official sanctions. My plan was to convince him that the whole thing was completely unfair. Rather than just sit back and take the hit while his factory stopped production, he'd be better off voting to end Project Stuja. At least that way, no one else would be able to make any money either, because all the factories would suddenly have more limited energy to work with. But now, he's already voted against it, which means someone must have used more forceful means to change his vote. Just like with everyone else who flipped. Yeah, no one knows why Lilac is so obsessed with ending Project Stuja, but by the looks of it, he's inching closer and closer to success.
Lilac must have strong motivations, given how he'll stop at nothing to achieve his goal. Maybe he knows the full truth of Project Stuja. Maybe my next step should be to focus on him.
I mean, that'd be smart.
All right. What are your plans for the rest of the day? Shall we head out?
Hey, comrade. I noticed you were here during the debate.
I didn't take you for a political enthusiast.
I'm not.
Greetings,
Furthest from.
I just happened to have some free time today, and my new friend here thought it might be fun to check out the Vetcha.
Ah, Odette must have introduced you. Looks like you two are getting along pretty well.
I'll leave you to catch up. I should head back to the troop.
Sure. Break a leg and all that. Thought it might be fun to check out the Vetcha, did you? Things are never that simple with you, Traveler. There's no way you're here for kicks and giggles. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah. To some, he's a captivating enigma. To others, he's the bane of their existence. No one ever thought that some anonymous nobody from the Rokot could cause such a stir. Huh? You want to look into Lelik? Then I'm sure his days of anonymity are numbered. What do you think, Sandrone?
Fine by me, I guess. If the Traveler actually manages to expose Lelik, it'll be doing Pulcinella a favor. In return, it seems fair to let her in on what we've learned so far.
My thoughts exactly. Sharing is caring, after all. Head back to Glupov and grab the files on Lelik. It's easier to just pull the records than go through the rigmarole of getting the Traveler a visitor's permit.
As you command, child, sir.
In that case,
Child,
since we're going to be waiting anyway, I'll have someone brew a pot of black tea.
I'd rather have coffee.
One common thread among the many incidents Lelik has been involved in is that the victims are all too scared to share any real information about him. Clearly, he must have threatened them in some way. His modus operandi is to silently infiltrate the scene and leave a threatening letter behind. But neither the letters nor the crime scenes ever yield any clues to his identity. So all these files have to offer are short statements by the people affected. They don't give us a lot to go on.
If nothing else, it shows we're dealing with a trained professional who's versed in counter-surveillance.
Yes, and to that point, he often strikes in highly secure locations. The victims are high-ranking and influential people who take their personal security very seriously. Somehow, Lelik slips right into their rooms without making a sound. There's never any eyewitnesses, nor the slightest trace of a break-in. If he can get in and out undetected, it means he can strike without warning. Not that that's ever happened so far, but the thought is enough to scare these people sleepless. It's hard to believe
I'd
that a
say
human
so.
being could pull this off flawlessly every time. So they switched the focus of the investigation to Faye.
I was gonna say, I was like, how do you know it's a
no
human?
one's found anything yet. Careful. Don't underestimate me. Although, truth be told, I'd probably find it hard not to blow my cover. Direct confrontation is more my style.
Yeah.
We haven't ruled out the possibility of Lelik being human. It's just, there can only be a handful of people in all of Teyvat who'd fit the profile. Faye, on the other hand, plenty would.
No, not as strong as me. You'll never find the culprit with criteria like that. Let's go with a little weaker than me.
Ooh, I don't know about that. What?
Oh, you hit me right where it hurts. I'll admit, he's strong and meticulous. But can we at least limit this to candidates who have something to do with Snezhnaya?
She's just trying to find a reference point. Stop getting fixated on who's stronger than who.
But that's the most important thing. In my opinion, anyway.
God, you haven't changed, and you never will.
Odette. Yeah, that seems about right. Her skills are solid, and she's always calm under pressure.
Except she's Fatui, so the likelihood of her working against us is pretty low.
That'd be the perfect
much
cover.
more accurate than your previous example, at least.
No, wait a moment. Maybe we should interrogate that assumption.
What do you mean? Which assumption?
Her Fatui identity doesn't necessarily exonerate her. And when you think about it, the Rokot would be precisely what she needs to conceal her identity.
Plus, she wouldn't need to be such a pro at covering her tracks. She'd already know where the Fatui will be and when. So she could choose the perfect time to act.
Yeah.
Yikes. I was just thinking out loud. Why is this starting to sound like such a convincing theory? Still, what reason could Odette possibly have for trying to call off Project Stuja?
Arlecchino would be the best person to ask.
Arlecchino?
She knows Odette best. Unfortunately, she isn't back yet.
Damn.
Rosaline used to open up to her in private about her struggles with Odette. As I'm sure you can imagine, Arlecchino is quite a lot better with children than Rosaline was. She gave her some tips on how to handle the situation, and Rosaline managed to reach a settlement with Odette before leaving. So I suppose there were at least no lifelong regrets left behind. Beyond that, I don't know the details about that side of things. But I do know that Odette definitely has a motive to hold a grudge against Project Stuja. The reason being, her father passed away during the early stages of the project. That was back before it had been named Project Stuja, when things were still being worked out. But in essence, it's remained the same ever since.
Huh. The more you know. Rosaline was always so self-centered. I never understood why she started paying so much attention to Odette. Is that such a surprise? If you cast your mind back, you may remember that Rosaline and I weren't exactly close. We had tea together a few times, but that was about it.
Odette's past is no secret. Her father was a fatus and her mother was a very famous ballerina. On the surface, it looks like she followed right in her parents' footsteps. But the truth is quite a different story. After her father passed away on a mission, her mother was overcome with grief. She broke her leg during a performance and could never dance again.
Damn.
Odette was only interested in ballet at the time, but this tragedy left the family with both breadwinners gone. They could barely make ends meet. Per Capitano's policy, family members of Fatui who died in the line of duty had to be appropriately accommodated and provided with adequate assistance. So, regardless of how Rosaline may have felt about it, it fell to her to resolve the issue of Odette's family's livelihood. In the end, the solution they agreed upon was to have Odette join the Fatui.
Right, because the alternative would have been a one-off compensation payment, I guess. In that sense, joining up was definitely the better option.
Yeah,
Still,
I
she
agree
must
to
have
that.
had mixed feelings about it, right? If she doesn't even like the Fatui.
It's just a theory, a possibility. But as a motive for Odette to become Lelik, it holds up. That said, I have no idea where Odette's head is at right now, or what her conflict with Rosaline was about. Plenty of people were on bad terms with Rosaline. I have no intention of trying to figure it all out. Yes, but there's not much point in discussing that now.
Yeah, back to Lelik. Since our investigations so far have turned up next to nothing, we've got nothing to lose by trying a new angle. Funnily enough, Tonya and I had actually made plans to go to the theater tomorrow to watch Odette's rehearsal. Unfortunately, thanks to this Lelik situation, I'll be stuck working overtime again. Which means you can go in my place. No point wasting the ticket. Plus, you'll get to meet Tonya.
Yay!
Spirit Seeker. Quite the classic ballet. It was passed down through Odette's mother's family for generations, though it hasn't been performed in years. But Odette's been practicing it diligently, and it's finally ready for a return to the stage. Excitement is through the roof. Tickets for the official performance sold out long ago.
Tonya's excited for it too. She's desperate to see it no matter what. Personally, it's not really my kind of thing, but since she's my little sister, I had to figure something out.
I've actually seen it several times before. The story's pretty straightforward. The lead character follows a trail of clues left behind by a spirit, gradually recovering her memories along the way. It's a tale of love and regret. So not exactly reinventing the wheel, at least by today's standards. But when that classic melody kicks in and the lead character begins to dance, it always gets me. It really is beautiful. Not an easy dance to do justice to, though. I know it's always been Odette's dream to perform this piece, but I'm not sure she's really ready.
In that case, I think that even if she is Lelik, we should wait until her performance is over before we respond. I'll let you take it from here, comrade.
Thank you. That's kind of cool. Flashbang. It'd be kind of cool to meet Tonya, because I was wondering if we'd be able to meet Child's family.
Sounds like you made a ton of progress today. It's good that everything's going so smoothly. Next step is to head back to the theater and get a clear answer from Odette.
It's going to be easier said than done. Hey, a lot of things could
Either way,
be
Paimon
easier
doesn't
said.
get the sense that she's a bad person. Sure, she might have done some pretty extreme things, but Paimon bet she has her reasons. Maybe this is going too far, but like, with everything she's managed to do so far, wouldn't it make more sense in theory to be even more, you know, heavy-handed? Why leave a letter when she could, well, we know there are plenty of other ways to keep people in line, right? The point is, she could have gone further, but she didn't. So, if it is her, she's got some principles at least.
Yeah.
Yeah! Well, all you can do is follow the facts wherever they lead. No change, really. But that thing Paimon told you about yesterday? Paimon feels like she can sense it more clearly now. Hearing you talk about your day makes Paimon itch for an
Aw.
adventure. If only she could be there with you so we could experience it all together.
This felt kind of weird not having
I
Paimon.
wish you could be there too. I'm not used to adventuring alone. But don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of this.
Never mind. Paimon will behave herself and keep resting.
If Odette is Lelek, she may well have inside information on Project Stuja. Her father was involved with the project's early implementation and tragically died in the process. Now, she's dedicated herself to bringing it
Tragically
to an end.
died in the
It's hard
process.
to imagine she could have gotten this far without knowing anything at all about the Tsaritsa's true intentions. When she spoke to us as a member of the Fatui, how much did she let on? And how much was she hiding? Only time will tell. Maybe tomorrow everything will be answered.
Hey look! It's snowing! Could be a tough day ahead. Make sure you wrap up warm tomorrow.
I'll wear the same thing. I wonder if it was a quote accident. I wonder if some shady stuff's going. But Act 1 done.